No one's home.
Nobody?
Nobody?
Not even an elf?
Nobody. Are Kara and the little one just kind of hanging out there in Alaska? You're not going anywhere right now?
Well, they were originally we're going to go skiing.
Go where?
Go over to the ski area this
Yeah.
weekend. John and Kara and Nev, but they decided they're just going to stay in Anchorage this weekend. And they're going to go to the ski area for the New Year's. So the next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, they go over there. They have some friends that have a house over there.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. I saw it last time. Jay and I were there for Christmas. We went over there and saw the house, the place. But I think they're going to have friends come over. They said this weekend, get together with some other couples with children.
Little children.
Some little children, so they're not going to be alone. So did Sonia take off?
Mm-hmm.
On her way back to Marin, back home.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lisa was traveling today down to Florida land.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she was flying down to Orlando today. I don't know if we'll have her with us or not tonight. If you get there in time to do live stream, I guess. I don't know what her schedule is.
Shoot. Do you want to show the fans your shirt?
No, that's okay.
The fans.
Fans.
Mm-hmm. bong bong. Good evening, my friends, and welcome to the Star Tetrahedron Magic. And of course, this is about the Christ star, the Star Tetrahedron, a crystalline structure of consciousness and light that we over time weave by bringing the aspects of the divine masculine power and the divine feminine of love back together. And then our consciousness is then clearly focused upon the feeling of love, and that then begins to hone, refine this structure within our field of energy around us, the star tetrahedron. And as, of course, it spins in counter-rotating vortices, we often like to see the upper triangulation going left to right, lower one right to left, and it opens a sacred doorway in the middle, of course, back into the realms of spirit void. And then from out of it, as we are breathing forth spirit, we are, of course, breathing forth oxygen, but more importantly, or equally importantly, I should say, we're actually then summoning spirit from out of the open doorway. And as we focus attention, it's our intention that creates reality. As we focus attention upon seeing it and feeling it as living sunlight, we then actually become light-bearing individuals. And so enlightenment is equalizing the light within with the light without. So we're no longer, if you will, so much always absorbing light. We are emanating light. We become light bearers, literally. And of course, the name of the talk this evening is the Christ Mass is December 21st, which is the solstice. Because long ago, before the actual Christian appellation of Christmas, Christ Mass, even before Egyptian times, all of the peoples of the world in their traditions knew that on December 21st, the sun once again began to lengthen. The days then began to return. And so this is what happens on December 21st, the solstice. And so literally the sun, that which is a Christ star as well, the Christ Mass returns. It also is symbolic of when the solar system was created, the sun actually has a piece of itself in the very core of Mother Earth. The liquid molten core of Earth is an aspect of the sun, but it's also its individual Christ. And so there is the Christ Mass within the sun that is returning. And then equally true on December 21st, there's actually an energetic wave that begins to occur at the very core of the planet. And it then is the beginning of the core begin to emanate light from inside out. And so there's also then the Christ Mass of the earth as it begins to once again come back into new life. And for us, you see, this is also a time where we then celebrate the Christ Mass, the return of the sun, which is esoterically appropriate, you see, for you and I, because that is what we are here to do. We are to become the Christ Mass. We are to weave together the divine masculine, the divine feminine, formulate the star tetrahedron within and through the auric field, and become light bearers. We are then the living sun. This is where the term I am the light comes from. It's what the word enlightenment means. I become and emanate the light, the Christ Mass. So the original Christ Mass was celebrated on December 21st, before the era of the Christians. And then I believe it was Pope Julius I in around 350 AD, the 4th century, in order to esoterically or more even factually steal away the energy from the pagans and from those who then had the festival of Saturn, which is the return of the sun, the solstice, in order to subvert energy from those peoples. He said, now we're going to move it to December 25th. And now this will be the true Christian celebration of Christ Mass Christmas. And it is then the birth of the great being Jesus, which of course is not true as well. It's historically said that he was probably born sometime in the maybe late spring. And so the festival of Easter is really more appropriate to the birth of Jesus. And of course, the Christian tradition calls Jesus the Christ, but in fact, the Christ is the actual manifestation of creation from the Christ star, as it is honed and refined in the very earliest beginnings of the universe. It was the Christ star that was created, this crystalline structure, prismatic crystalline structure, that was then able to illuminate for the first time the void, where all thoughts within the mind of Source God exist. And this is somewhat of an important thought, my friends, is that everything already exists within the mind of God, within the void. So before light was even created, that which we call source within the void, this great field of consciousness, there was no light yet, but this field of consciousness began to think and to dream and to cognize all possibilities. And so, for what we would call billions upon billions and eons of time before there ever was light, source within the void, it simply began to expand its thinking, its thoughts, and filled up, the entire what we now call the universe and even the unknown universes. But then finally, that which is source then realized, well, now I've thought everything that is possible to think and to cognize. And so there was this kind of a moment of rest. And in that moment of rest, that which we call source, God, it simply then asked the question, what am I? And so that was then the formation then of the Christ star, this crystalline structure. The question, what am I? It created light. And that light then was refined into this crystalline structure that is the star tetrahedron, the first Christ Mass that then began to illuminate in the void. And of course, the first cognition of that which was within the void was simply very subtle and refined energy, what we call hydrogen. One proton, one electron, one neutron. And that then, in that cognition, it simply filled the entire universe with that hydrogen gas. And then it began to coalesce together. That was the next formulation of the Christ, to begin to gather all of this hydrogen together. And as it finally coalesced into form, it then ignited. And then billions upon billions of years ago, it was the first beginning of star formation. Our sun is in the second wave of star formation. So in this first wave of star formation, when all the hydrogen gathered together and the suns ignited, there were no planets yet, simply stars burning within the sky, these magnificent Christed beings that were now light and awake. But then over time, they then, if you will, esoterically decided now it's time to evolve, and they collapsed upon themselves. We would say in physics and science, they burned themselves out, but they simply let go of their need to shine and realized it was now time to collapse. And so the Christ star collapsed back upon itself. All the hydrogen was then squeezed together with such a tremendous force that then it exploded. And as all of the hydrogen squeezed together, it created all the minerals in creation: oxygen, nitrogen, iron, uranium. You see, all the minerals that you could ever imagine were created. And then when the star exploded, it then simply sent the stardust as minerals out into creation. And then the second go around of Christing began, star formation, and that is our physical sun. But now the beginning of these Christ beings, they were then able to, with their consciousness, evolve the next wave of evolution, which is then to gather planets and the minerals of creation and then formulate it into, if you will, actually planetary systems. And in the core of each one, then there was a piece of the sun that was then the rotation that gathered that mineral to it. And so there is a piece of the sun, the Christ, within the core of the earth. And so Earth is on a Christing evolutionary pathway. Our sun and its solar system, which is its body, is on a pathway of evolution. And then we as consciousness, we were then able to, through one-celled amoebas, we're then learning how to get into this mineral world. And then over eons of time, we have now become fully conscious. And so for the first time in, if you will, the creation of the universe, consciousness is now awakening itself within a mineral physical world, a three-dimensional world of free will. And through our free will, we now arise forth. And as we hone and refine the star tetrahedron, we become living Christs, living sons, sons of light. We could call it sons and daughters, if you will, but it is really living light bearers within a earthly form. And then we then begin to evolve a whole nother wave of evolution on the planet. And so we have talked about how this is now the time on the planet when that is happening, that we have reached the apex of the human evolution, and we're now at the next stage of evolution, which is the human divine. And so this symbolic and even factual Christ Mass that we are then in the midst of yesterday, the solstice, the true Christ Mass, is now the awakening of this new energy wave coming from Mother Earth. And so there is now the next wave of energy that's going to begin to place in 2022. And so Mother Earth is already then beginning to emit this vibration. And it's a vibration of even more change and even more growth into a dynamic Christed experience for those who choose that. For those who want to go against the grain and continue the old ways of manipulation and control and fear and worry, the new vibration is going to begin to be so dynamic as we move into 22. It will just create more fear and worry and chaos for those who don't have a deep spiritual relationship with themselves, with the Christ within themselves. And so it begins to be a little bit more of a separation and consciousness taking place. And it's not that some being is up there saying, I choose this and choose that and not this. It's each individual through their own free will. This is a planet that was given free will, a great experiment. Let consciousness have free will to choose if it wants to become a God realized Christed being or if it wants to simply cycle down into ignorance and debauchery. Sounds kind of fun, but been there, done that. And now cycling into the place of the Christed experience, which is so blissful and glorious and filled with goodness and grace. And of course, it allows us to become what is our true destiny, which is creator beings. Creator beings. We actually are able then to hold focusing of light, attention. We imagine, imagination, love. We imagine and love something so profoundly and focus light upon it. It then creates this Christed holographic image of it. We then breathe forth from inside out of the star tetrahedron spirit, life. Breath is life. We then give life to the creation, and then the substance of the Oma glitters living light around it, and it becomes informed. This is what Christ, the man Jesus, was able to fully master, the Christ system, which is why he could then create loaves and fishes. He could manifest. He could heal because he was simply a creator being. He had mastered the Christ system. The Christ system is within each and every human being. It's not something outside of us. We're not looking for God anymore. We're not looking for truth anymore. As you can see within the world, everyone has pretty much bastardized the knowledge of truth and illusion and separateness and talking heads that spew, excuse my French, bullshit. Truth is now something you can find only within the heart. What is truth? It's not a thought, it's a feeling that arises forth from the authenticity of that which lives within you, source, God, oneness. The original creation of the universe, it's still within you. And as you learn to become silent and focused in your meditation, this is the revelation of source, God, I am, in the expression of truth, I am, for the edification of authentic life on this divine and sacred planet, Mother Earth. So the Christ Mass, very beautiful time that we are now awakening into. So quite a celebration. We talked last week about the breath and how the breath is not only breathing from out of the open doorway, it's also coming to another realization that around us is the field of mind. And it's the fields of mind around us. It's the mind that has been weaving its way down through time space. Consciousness. Consciousness is seeking to awaken us into our Christedness. And so when we begin to recognize this field of energy up and around us, we're so no longer focused just in the body. We realize I am a field of mind that is holding the body in a molecular suspension, and the mind I am can create the body I am through imagination and feeling to evolve. And so we realize I am a mind evolving a body rather than I am just a body with a mind. So when we're doing the breath work and we're breathing from inside out, I'm going to invite you once again to feel yourself somewhat within the area around you. This isn't a feeling of disassociation. So you're not leaving the body, you're not in any way denying the body. You're simply knowing that I can have part of my consciousness in a feeling realization around me. And it's this part of my mind around that is drawing the breath. It is drawing the breath. So let's go ahead and do about 5 minutes of the deep Soham breath. And as we then sit quietly and feel the open doorway within the very center of the chest, the in breath, you see we're breathing in spirit. And the realization that it is the mind I am out here that is then summoning from inside out the breath I am, source God I am. And as we gently let go, we feel the sparkling and effervescent light flowing and shining from all around us. So let's go ahead and do 5 minutes of deep Soham breath. And a couple of more deep, slow spirit breath. Spine nice and straight. Breathing in source. I am the mind. Breathing the body I am. Calling light and life into this dimension through the open doorway within the heart. So I'd like to encourage you once again when we're doing the star tetrahedron work, that the star tetrahedron is in front of you, it's in back of you, it's all around you. I was working with a client today and she said that she had a tendency to create things out there and then look at them, look at the star tetrahedron, look at her body. And I said, well, the really important part of it is that you make it real by feeling yourself that you are creating the system. You're sitting inside the star tetrahedron, and then you are the observer. You're actually watching and feeling the movement front, back, all around. And then it becomes an actual visceral experience within the physical form, which then changes the structure within and then hones and refines consciousness. Now, there's no error at first to become familiar with the technique if you simply visualize it. But over time, once again, I want to encourage you to realize that you are the one that is visualizing that which is around you. You're not looking at it. You are that which is creator. You are creator. And we also know that the star tetrahedron is whatever size you choose. And as it turns, it opens then the sacred doorway within the middle of the heart chakra, back into the realms, the dimensions of spirit. And then arising forth, you see, is the breath of life. But equally important, you see, we talked earlier about how everything already exists within the mind of God. Well, it's the attention of the light of the Christ that you now are refining, that you're able to esoterically peer into the darkness, into the void, and illuminate your choices of creation, your choices of manifestation. And as you illuminate them, there is a reflection off of it. The star tetrahedron holographically, then as a prism, it then prismatically creates it to be holographically real. The breath gives it life, and the Oma precipitates it into form. You become the creator of reality. So I'll take you through the formulation of the star tetrahedron, and then we will meditate for 35 minutes. As we're meditating, of course, spine erect, and there is again the tube of light that goes up through the middle of the star tetrahedron, which is the spinal column. And as we are, again, in each moment, we are breathing the breath. You see, the breath is observing the movement of this life and light from inside out. We call it as we are watching and observing the breath in the star tetrahedron movement. So let's go ahead and close the eyes and feel the body relaxing, please. And then let's bring our attention between the eyebrows, and we know we can draw a line straight back. And within the approximate center point of the head, we ignite the light of the soul. Quietly affirming, I am the light, the soul, perfect, divine, entering every day more into this physical body to become the living light. And holding here, we feel the light increasing that fills the mind and the brain. The light of consciousness. The focusing of intention and attention. We focus the light to the heart chakra at the sternum, where we illuminate the star tetrahedron. It already exists. We're simply revealing it through the light of attention. The light of attention reveals the star tetrahedron. Upper triangulation of divine power with apex above. Lower triangulation of divine feminine love is in and through Mother Earth. This is a very important part. In and through Mother Earth. She is breathing with you in the star tetrahedron movement. And as the star tetrahedron turns, it opens the sacred doorway within the very center of the chest, the heart chakra. And you are summoning the breath of life and light from inside out. I summon Spirit, God I am, from the open doorway. Letting go the breath and sparkling effervescence, just like the physical sun dancing and flowing from you out into the world and bringing peace, peace on earth. I am the light. Let's sit quietly together and I will join you in the star tetrahedron of living light I am. And welcome back. As we're moving forward into 2022, it's going to be very important to remember that the star tetrahedron, as well as the torus field, it lives in and through Mother Earth. With a higher vibration, there's the tendency to want to move simply up into the upper dimensions of mind and spirit. But of course, Earth is just as much source God as spirit is. It's just different, if you will, vibration, but it's all oneness. And to literally be with it in equalness. This is the essence of love. I'm loving mother, I'm loving body, I'm loving form, I'm non-resistant to it. I breathe with it, I feel it, as well as I'm in this place of able to focus consciousness, attention, and light. And with love, then I become creator being. And so to have the sense of when you're moving through the days and the weeks and the months ahead, really feeling this grounded feeling of silent mind, of very quiet, open, discerning from the heart love and what truth is. So very important. Of course, I want to thank you for being with us again once again tonight. And we will see you in 2022 in January, if you can believe the year is gone. Pretty exciting. And 2022 will be absolutely beautiful, spectacular, outrageous. I guarantee it. All right, loves, thank you very much. Peace, blessings, Merry Christ Mass, and happy solstice. And happy birthday.